The new year is upon us, and you know what that means. Holidays, resolutions, quality time with family, and most importantly, shiny hunting bingo boards. For those of you who don't know, shiny hunting bingo is a community activity that takes place around this time every year. Members of the community take time to decide and share the shiny hunts they want to do in the coming year, in the form of a bingo board. Designing your own bingo board is a fun way to flex your creative muscles, while also taking a moment to reflect on all your favorite little guys or favorite ways to hunt. An equally important part of the process is sharing your board with others, taking the time to appreciate the effort everyone put into their selection and the designs of the boards. To that end, here are a few of my favorites from last year. It took me some time in the community before I appreciated this aspect of the shiny bingo board. My first ever board looks like I only spent 20 minutes on it. Because I did. After seeing how good everyone else's looked, I had to revise it. And this is my second version. I am so much happier with how this looks, even if I'm not so happy with my progress on my hunts. Every year, my love for this community grows deeper and deeper, and I learn to appreciate the smaller parts of it even more. Because of this, I wanted to go all out for my 2026 bingo board. All I needed was a little inspiration. And wow, did inspiration slap me in the face about 2 months ago. Someone posted this screenshot of PK diagram, and it immediately reminded me of physical cards. This is almost certainly because I've spent the last year making custom e-reader cards, and now I can't see a rectangle with an object in it as anything but a TCG card. At that moment, I knew exactly what I wanted my 2026 bingo board to be. I would make a physical bingo board where each square was its own card. Since each square had now become a 2.5 inch by 3.5 inch card, I needed to have more content than just the sprite. But I wasn't exactly sure what. When I'm noodling on an idea, I like to sketch them out on sticky notes. In fact, I have an entire mirror full of sticky notes. After noodling for a bit, this is what I came up with. A space with a name, a space to describe the location and type of hunt, a space for the sprite, a space for any info once you find your target, and a background that is a blurred image of the hunt location. For the back of the card, I'm not entirely sure yet, but I'm thinking something like a note card design could be pretty cool for any extra notes you might want to add. The next step is to jump into graphics design software and get to editing. I'll start with GIMP to create the background images. I set the dimension of the image to 1500 by 2100 pixels since I'm designing the card to be printed at 600 pixels per inch, and the card should be 2.5 by 3.5 inches when completed. To create the background, I copy the location image into the canvas, then scale it to cover the entire page, making sure pixel rescaling is being used. For some locations, I have to select a smaller area of the image to make it work with the card's aspect ratio. Then I apply a Gaussian blur to the entire image. I played around with the numbers and found that 4.0 works the best. After that, I export the image as a PNG and open up Inkscape, which is a tool that is much better for precisely placing design elements. Inside of Inkscape, I progressively build up the design I sketched out before, adding rectangles for the name, the location, adding the Pokemon sprite, adding a raised platform with a drop shadow which makes it kind of pop off the background image, and of course the image we edited before. As I'm working on the design, I add a border around the edge of the card. This makes it look more like a TCG card, but it has another purpose that I'll circle back to soon. With all the cards designed, I need to place them on a single page for printing. My printing company prints on 13 by 19 inch pieces of paper, so that's the layout here. Each card is copied into the document aligned to the grid with a pre-configured cut line. It took time to align the cut lines as best we could, but this leads into one of the key elements of card design. Nothing in physical manufacturing is perfectly precise. Machines are bound to the physical world, and there's a limit on how accurately they can place things such as blades. For cards, the cutting machines are not able to cut perfectly along the center line. Instead, they may cut up to 1/8 of an inch on either side of the intended location. This brings us back to the card borders mentioned before. You've certainly seen these borders on every TCG card ever printed, but they aren't there just for aesthetics. These borders are added to ensure the card looks good no matter where the blade actually cuts. On the inside of the card, there's an area called the safe zone. This is where all your critical non-border content should go. From the edge of the safe zone to the intended cut line is the border region. Anything in the border region may be cut by the cutter. From the intended cut line to 1/8 of an inch outside the card is the bleed region. The cutter may also cut outside of the intended line in the bleed region. This region should be colored to match the border of the card, otherwise a strip of white from the paper will appear on the edge of the card. I sent this design off to the printer, and this is what I got back. I genuinely chuckled when I first saw this. It never ceases to amaze me how cool these prints look. The printer's cutter is currently being repaired, so I volunteered to cut these cards by hand. You can see the bleed area in the offcuts. Had I not added it, these cuts would have definitely been off. However, a stack of cards does not a bingo board make. For that, we need a backplane to hold them all, and I have a perfect idea for that. Actually, bingo boards are usually 5x5, but this binder is only 3x3, which results in only 9 bingo squares. While I have seen bingo boards that small, this just doesn't feel right for the ultimate bingo board. The perfect solution would be a 5x5 binder, but I looked for hours without finding a match. The next best option would be a 4x4 binder, but I also couldn't find an acceptable option. After a while, I settled on this 4x5 binder. In order to make it work like a real bingo board, only 4 of the 5 columns can be used, but this actually worked out quite well. I can use the extra column here as a label for the current year of the board. I quickly designed, printed, and cut out these number cards to slide into the pockets as labels. I've saved the most important feature of my ultimate bingo card for last. What happens when you find a shiny? For digital bingo cards, a mark is added to the square and the whole image is re-uploaded. For IRL bingo, a large ink marker thing called a dauber is used. And sure, I could just use a dauber, but it just doesn't have the same finesse that the digital stamp on a digital board usually does. What I really want is a Pokeball-shaped dauber, so I designed my own. I quickly drew a Pokeball in Inkscape, then uploaded it to Vistaprint's custom stamp service. Now, when I find a target on my 2026 bingo board, I get the joy of marking them caught with a Pokeball stamp. This may be presumptuous, but I think I might have created the coolest bingo board yet. I know someone will surpass it one day, and I can't wait. In the meantime, I'll keep an eye out for what everyone else cooks up this year. Anyways, that's all I have for now. But stick around for just a second longer. I just recently got back from my honeymoon in Japan, and I have code cards for a Cherish Ball Slowpoke. It has Pokemon Center as its OT and is redeemable in Legends ZA. I'll be giving away this code card in 1 week. All you have to do to enter is leave a comment telling me about your favorite shiny bingo board. And while you're there, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps the channel. Until next time.